Hi everyone. Today I'm going to be typing Ryan Gallen. So how you doing, Ryan? What's new?
What's new? A lot of things are new because you don't know very much about me.
Very true. So what have you been doing recently?
Recently, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going. I was living in a basement, and then I was planning on moving already, and then the whole pandemic thing happened. So right now, I'm just cleaning. I've been cleaning for like 2 days.
I see. And do you enjoy cleaning?
Some sort of. I don't dislike it. I don't like cleaning my own stuff, but for some reason I kind of like cleaning other people's stuff and just being like, there, it's better, I fixed it for you. But like my own stuff, I'm more like, oh, I have to clean things again. Like, it just like, you clean the dishes, you use dishes, you have to clean the dishes again, then you make more dishes, and then you clean the dishes, and then blah, blah, blah. It's just like, it seems like, why am I going to clean it? Because it's just going to get dirty again.
I
But
know.
it can't be too dirty.
Yeah,
I hate it, but it can't be too dirty. So I do it, but I hate it. But yes.
I see. No worries. And okay. So what do you do when you're not forced to stay in your house?
Probably still stay in my house. I got a lot better this past year about like having people who like I regularly do things with. Um, I once went on this. I used to walk with my dog a lot. I ended up relocating her when I was relocating, but I used to walk with her a lot. And one time I went on a walk with one of my friends,
Yeah.
just through like this like forest hike in the middle of BC. So I liked that. Um, I like going out to dinner, like with friends and going like interesting new places. And I always try to get people to do Korean karaoke with me.
Why Korean karaoke?
I like Korean karaoke better because you get like 6 people who you like together, and then you get like total control over like what song's next, who's singing. Like you don't have to wait for a bunch of drunk people you don't care about to sing.
Yeah.
You just like totally get to pick. And because I like to sing more than most people, I also just get a lot more control because everyone realizes I care more than them.
I see. Can you be a bit of a diva?
I get that sometimes. I don't necessarily feel it in myself, but
Okay. Okay, so you don't feel like a diva,
no.
but people can say. So what do you do that makes other people to think that you're a diva?
I think that I'm uh, funny and definitely can play up the sassiness. So but then sometimes it comes back to bite me because I'm a supervisor, so then people will be like, oh, blah, 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 you're sassy today. And I'm like, no, I'm not sassy. I'm just telling you what to do. Just go do it.
So your role at the moment is as a supervisor.
Yeah, I just finished it.
Okay. Why did you finish?
Well, halfly because, partly because they fired pretty much 80% of the people. I probably wouldn't have been fired if I hadn't quit already. I ended up quitting on the 15th, and then they fired almost everybody else on the 16th. But I was leaving. Right now, my mom is creating like a coaching consulting business, and so I was leaving to help her and get certified, and then eventually, like, we would like to build it some way that I could then take it over.
I see. And is going to coaching consulting something you've always wanted to do?
Um, it's always something that I've gotten feedback that I'm good at. I'm good at talking to people and like sharing, like helping them change perspectives and like understanding and them feeling listened to. So I've always been like kind of like told I'm good at it. I don't necessarily like love it. It's a little bit like nerve wracking sometimes to like feel like I have to go talk to this person and I'm like forced to give them value. I don't like the pressure of it necessarily.
Right. So, would you say you're a bit of a shy person?
Yes and no, half and half. I'd say I'm like half shy. It's more like people are a lot of energy, and so I don't love to spend it on people that I don't believe will be worth the energy expenditure.
Okay.
So I can definitely be outgoing. I've especially learned how to be outgoing working in the coffee shop. Um, so yes, but it's sometimes just hard. I don't like naturally keep it going.
Okay. So, what do you use to decide whether someone is more worth spending your energy on compared to someone who isn't?
Um, it's definitely over time. I think everyone's worth a little bit of time, but like I have to get to know you, and then you have to get my sense of humor. You have to be funny. Um, I don't know.
Okay.
I
No,
just
fair.
take time getting to know you.
Hmm. So, why do you tend to be someone who tends to spend most of your time at home?
Why what?
Why do you spend most of your time at home, even when you're not forced to?
Well, normally because I either have I normally go through phases. So I'll be in like a book phase and a like TV phase, in like a a video game phase. Video games like RPGs with stories. So I don't know. You can trust all of those things to be interesting, and so I just like them.
Okay. How often do you try something new?
It depends on what you mean by new. I will probably go like a new food often, but like again, it's like I want to try all of this. Like I want to try bubble tea for a week. Then I want to try pho for a week. Then I want to try. So it's like new, and then I'll like eat a bunch of it, and then I'll move on and eat a bunch of it. Try doing something new. Probably not that often. I already have things that I like. Like I like hiking, and I'll like try like a new area to hike in after I'm bored of the one that I'm in. I like dancing and singing, so I pretty much know enough things that I like that I could probably do that one, get bored of it, 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 do that one, get bored of it.
I see.
But am I
What?
like gonna go like, let's do skydiving? Okay, cool. Let's do
Mhm.
something else. Let's do this. So it's like I'm doing new things, but not necessarily different types of things. New things within the things that I already know I like.
Hmm. Rather than doing, what things do you like to think about?
Rather than doing, what do I like to think about?
Mhm.
Um, so I'm doing this. Um, I've been studying like the objective personality thing for like 2 years, not on and off. Like I'll like watch the classes every Tuesday and stuff. Um, but then my mom is starting the thing, is doing the coaching business. So she's like, oh, we need to come up with something that we can um, like an assessment or something like that. People love that type of stuff, and I'm like, that's kind of true. So I've been
Mm.
interesting trying to take that and like what distill it into like what is really like useful to people is something I'm interested in. I'm taking this. I wouldn't necessarily have done this, but I am finding it pretty interesting right now. I'm taking this positive intelligence course. It was like a free course to coaches, and we have this. Like we have they're essentially different types of meditation. I'm liking that and talking with my cohort about like how we're. So it's like the thought process of like how it works. I enjoy. Other than that, like books and TV and games is usually like some kind of fantasy element, maybe sci-fi, as long as the sci-fi gears more towards magic than technology. Um, Definitely like fantasy stuff. Is that a good start to your answer? Oh no, did you freeze? I don't know what to do. Maybe he freezes on purpose. Testing me. All right. For everyone watching, I'm private chatting. You're frozen! Exclamation point. Ah! People have been talking already. Delta, likely. Where did he go, everyone? Can you see him? Can you see me? Should I refresh the page? Sure, I can answer questions in the meantime. He's not frozen, that's just how he looks. Ryan!
Sorry about that, Ryan. I would say
with chat in the meantime.
that is a good idea. I was about to say it's the best thing to do when this sort of thing happens. I'm still not used to figuring out what the best place in my mother-in-law-to-be's house is for maintaining stable internet connection. I'm starting to think this might not be the right place, but I'm not sure where else I can sit, which is irritating. But anyway, sorry about that. What were we saying? So we were talking about meditation.
So it's like a type of meditation. I like it because it's more physical. Like he'll be like, pay attention to the tips of your fingers so much so that you can feel like the finger pads. So I like it because when I'm just like, it's just like, just stop and think and don't think. It's like, so I like that it gives me like a sensory thing to focus on. So that was that. And then I was talking about like video games and TV stuff. I like fantasy stuff. Sci-fi, as long as it sticks mostly to magic, not technology. Now you're caught up to everything they've heard.
Yeah. So why magic rather than technology?
I think it's. I don't love nerdy stuff necessarily. I don't want to. I don't like cold and thinking. I just have always preferred fantasy. Like, I don't know. Like if I don't know. I don't love the overly technology stuff.
No, that's fine. And
that's fine.
What is your favorite fantasy show and why?
Oh my God. You can't just ask that question. Started when I was younger with, I'm just going to list it because I can't possibly choose. Probably started with Little Mermaid. I definitely wanted to be a mermaid or a merman. Then I got into Pokemon, and I was definitely a water-type gym leader. Then I got into Charmed when I was in high school. I definitely wanted to be a witch. Piper was my favorite. I wanted to freeze time. Then I got into Buffy. Willow was, of course, my favorite. I have this like fantasy of just like going dark, and I just like love that they did that for her. And she was lesbian. I think those are probably my childhood, like lifelong favorites. I also like Final Fantasy X. I like the summoning and like the journey that they went on. So yeah.
Okay. And why do you like to become these different characters?
Why do I what? Why do I like to become?
Yeah, why do I like to become them?
I thought about this a lot. Right now I'm playing Persona 5 Royal, and you're like playing as this Japanese like school character. And I'm just like, and you're like, well, I was also thinking about Pokemon too. Like I would be taking care and petting this like Pokemon while I have this dog right next to me. And I'm like, why? This is so funny. Like humans are so funny. I think it's because I think you just know what you're going to get. When like you know that like it's written so that there's like an interesting story and that like things work out in the end, even if you fight with somebody for the greater purpose of the story. So I think it's just like you can rely on it more. And like I think in real life you don't really get what you want.
How do you handle ambiguity and uncertainty?
Depends on the like where. So I was in this ambiguous conversation with my boss, and I can't even explain it because he had no purpose for this conversation. Like he gathered all the supervisors together. He's the manager and he's new. And he was just like, we're just going to talk. And we're going to talk about how the shop is going. and like after an hour we'll discover what we've been talking about. And I was like, it was painful to be in that conversation and have no idea why and what reason we were there. Like, and he didn't, and his reason was he doesn't want a reason. That killed me. So I did not handle that well. I definitely was like, everyone was like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "I hate this conversation so much. I'm sorry." So how do I handle ambiguity there? Horribly. And like job stuff, if there's like no like right answer, I'll just decide which one is the best one based on all the knowledge I've been given, and I don't know, figure it out. Ambiguity of where to park. I hate parking because I just don't trust that. Why is he my dad? Sorry, I'll turn that off. Why? I just don't trust like that it'll work out, and I hate spending money on parking. Sorry, is that answering your question?
Yeah, that's fine. I just wanted to explore more. Why do you need a reason for doing things?
It's like, I mean, if like because I have things that I want to be doing always, and if I'm not going to be doing them, and I'm doing what you want me to do, then there has to be some larger reason.
Okay. Are you a very busy person?
I would not say I'm a busy person in the sense of like the culture of like you have to be going to all these meetings and rushing around and stuff. I would say I always have something I want to be doing. Like I'm not like a napper. Like I don't just like to like have nothing to do and like let me nap and let me bus around there. I'm like, I have this I want to be doing and this I want to be doing, and if I don't have anything, then I'm figuring out the next show I want to watch, and then I'm doing that. So I would say I'm always doing something, but not necessarily busy.
I see. How do you relate to self-development and improvement?
When I was 21, I first took the Landmark Forum, and I was like, I need something. I'm like just crazy at school, feeling directionless, depressed. I need something. So I took that, and that's a like coaching self-development course. And I definitely stuck with that for a long time. I liked the distinctions they had to teach you. So I like it. I feel like I have a hard time necessarily like, where do I need to develop? I'm going to go develop that. I like having like a course to go to, information to learn, like guided thought processes to follow for self-development.
I see.
But I love the conversations, and I'm pretty good at like making connections and stuff, but I don't love to do it like on my own. So that's one thing I do like leaving the house for.
Okay. How do you handle lots of information?
Again, depends on the type of information. And what do you mean by a lot?
Well, like a lot at once, multiple sources of information coming at you together.
Do you mean like school information, like bodily sensory information?
Okay, I'd say more school information.
School.
We can talk about bodily as well.
If you have a lot, so I prefer lectures actually. I find that when you're listening to a person who's interested in their topic and they're teaching, then they will inform you while they're talking, like what's interesting, and they'll be like, oh, cool, like so there's this thing, and the interesting thing about it is this, and so I like that. So it's kind of actually not too much information because they're just giving you one thing at a time. So it's like, I guess that's not too much information though. Like a big like textbook, I'm like, I don't want anything to do with that. I like YouTube videos too. I like I used to watch it was called PB. It was on PBS's channel. It was like Space Time on PBS's YouTube channel, and like they'll guide you through like a topic on quantum physics, and I would just watch another one, especially on like the car ride to work. I would just like play one, and he was cute too, so that helped. But yeah, I guess I don't like too much information. I want you to. I like to funnel it through my ears.
Okay. And what would you say are the things which you're most confident at?
What am I most confident at? I would say I'm not like I'm more confident at things that I've thought about a lot and that I've like dealt with a lot. So like I can be confident at like work because I come in and I try to learn everything that and like why we do it and the best way to do it. And so then I'm confident kind of like being like, hey, like you're new, like just wanted to like say like, hey, like this is the way they show us to do it. This is like a tweak that I found that works better. So I'm confident there. I'm confident usually in a group of people after I've gotten to know them well. I'm confident in like what will like make everyone laugh. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. And when are you at your least confident?
What am I least confident at? Everything else. I'm least confident at probably like sports still, but like dance is kind of a sport, but I'm not confident at the gym. I still don't know how the weights work. That came up because it was related to physical activity. But I'll probably just pretend and like go around and just use the ones I like that are obvious and pretend I know what's going on. Or do stretches. I'm least confident. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's like not. It doesn't. There's no unconfidence because I'm just like if I don't know something and I want to know it, I'll go learn it, and I'm confident that I can learn it. I'd say maybe I'm not confident in definitely social situations where I don't know people and I haven't figured out like what type of people they are, and like big groups of people that I don't know. I don't want anything to do with it. I guess I'm not confident there. I don't like want to just go into a group and just figure it out on the fly. I want to know, like, if I'm going to be hanging out with a group, I want to know like the like majority of the people.
Okay. So what do you do if you go to a party and you don't know a lot of people there?
Oh my God! If I have to, if I have to go, I'm definitely being invited by someone that I do know.
Okay.
So I'm gonna want to stick with them for the most part. But then I'll feel bad relying on them because that hasn't necessarily totally worked out in the end because they want to go off and do whatever they want to do. So then I'm going to try to find people that I do like. While I'm with them, I'm going to want to try to connect with other people. So then those people are more like another safer space. And then they'll go off and I'll stay with the new people that I've discovered. And then I'll go find my person that I know, and then I'll try to get to know this group, and then like slowly, if I have to, I'm going to slowly figure out how everyone works, and then I could go back to that first group, and then I have like a kind of like pattern again. So I'm not sticking anyone with me like a leech.
I see. And do you have many friends?
Do I have many friends? I don't keep up with people. So I have like dots of good friends like throughout like different states. And like once I've made that type of friend, like I can kind of like pick up with them whenever. But I definitely like, I mean, obviously based on my social pattern, I'm not going to meet a ton of people and have a ton of friends. So I like to find like, I don't know. I don't find like a ton of people like that. Like I want to spend time with. Like I normally find like one person that I like really get along with, and then I just kind of want to hang out with them. I don't want to like go and I don't want to find a bunch of people that I sort of get along with.
Okay. So focusing on that one or two people. Fair enough. Okay. So you said that one person you spend time with, do you then regularly check up on them, or do you also just sort of go and do your own thing and then it's okay?
I definitely am more likely to be checked up on than to check up on others. I'm not going to be like, how are you doing? How are you feeling today? I would be like, hey, it's been a week. Do you want to do something? If I was like feeling like I needed to get out of the house and do something. So I don't check up on people.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. So where do you see yourself in 30 years' time?
Like 30 years? I don't see that. I barely see 5 years, maybe, and that's only because my mom has a plan for the business. What I would at some point like to learn a second language and have a real chance to like dive into it and like live in a different country. That's of course harder at the moment. So I picture myself coaching probably for money, hopefully, but I don't know. Or writing a book, like writing a fantasy series. There's this one of my coaches was going to. She still hasn't done it. I need to follow up with her. But there's this guy who does coaching for like LGBT, whatever, in the Middle East. So I think that would be a really interesting thing to do to help like people who like need someone to talk to.
Okay. I sort of missed a bit of that. Sorry about that again. You're talking about how following your mother's business, the business your mother set out.
Oh my gosh! Now I feel like for repeating things for the people watching. So okay, yeah. So my mom has a plan for the coaching business.
Yeah.
So that could be doing that, or writing a book, a fantasy book, learning a language, traveling, and then my coaching friend knows another coach that does coaching for like LGBT in the Middle East, and I think that would be a like useful use of time. Like, people who like really don't have anyone to talk to. And I mean, eventually I want to meet someone, and I feel like I'm pretty like go with the flow. Like I have like wider, bigger things that I want to do, and then I can kind of work well with somebody else and be like, oh, you want to go over here? That's cool. That'll work for me because of this.
Okay. What is the big thing that you want to do?
What's the what?
What are the big things that you want to do?
Definitely the language and some kind of creative thing. Learning a language, becoming fluent, and some kind of creative thing. Writing or I don't know, music. I always come back to music in some way, but I never really make the jump to like do it.
Yeah. Why do you always go back to music?
I mean, I'm doing it all the time. So I'm always like singing, and so I jump back to it because I'm like, this is like one of the only things that I just like consistently like.
Okay. And you said learning a language. I forgot why did you want to learn a new language?
I just like learning new words for things, and I like the idea of being able to like learn more about a new culture and like talk to new people.
Yeah. Okay. How easy is it for you to change your mind?
I feel like it's not easy for me to change my mind, but my mind changes itself often. So I don't change my mind, but my mind definitely changes.
Oh, so how does that work?
I don't know how it works. It just kind of happens. I definitely like sticking to something is like a life journey for me. But it's just kind of like, it just like comes back to the whole like, I want to eat here and only here, and then I'm bored. And then I will find something new. So it's more like I lose interest. So learning a language is hard because you have to, talking to new people and like learning from them talking is easy. But like if you want to like, eventually you have to kind of like build some blocks on your own the way that we've designed language learning. And so like doing that again and again and again can get boring. And so that it's hard to like, you have to like, I have to really force myself to be like, okay, you're going to do this again and again and again. So yes, so it's more like it's not like I change my mind. It's just that I have something that I like and then I like lose interest in it and then I find something new.
Okay. Makes sense. And what sorts of things tend to irritate you?
Merging, people zooming up the side and trying to like we're merging and then they're like, I'm just gonna go around you. I'm like, I'm sure tons of people watching this do this, but it's just like you're not more important than anyone else. Like I'm ahead of you. I'm merging. Like we're all trying to merge, but like I don't know. So then I get that sometimes, like especially in like traffic, I'm just like I'm getting over now. Oops, fuck you. So DC has definitely made me worse at that. People at work used to annoy me when they would be like when we would be like really working to make this like huge line of drinks, and then someone would like order and then like walk over and be like, my latte for Alex, where is it? And it's like, I would need to go find your drink, which is you just ordered, so it's way fucking down there. You're wasting more time. Like your drink is not ready. Go away. So that's a pet peeve of mine, is asking like where my drink is. It's like when we're obviously making tons of drinks. Like, but then I get it too. It's like sometimes we do forget drinks, so you just want to be like, is it still like you're making it right? But it's definitely like, yes, we're making it. I'm making drinks.
Okay, thank you. And what do you mean by merging? I didn't quite get that.
Oh, merging in traffic.
Oh, okay.
Like when you're, people have to. Where's my hand? And people have to like merge together. Where's the camera?
I see. Gotcha. Okay. Let me think. So, So when you're, what do you have you're at your most satisfied? Say as a coach or whatever else you'd like to do. Where do you feel this is where I'm content and where I am?
I mean, I'm most content. Well, it's hard to say. I'm most content like at home playing a video game. But then if I do that too long, then I start to feel uncontent. So I don't hate work. I kind of like being able to go somewhere, do something productive, and then go home. I would say I was actually more content working at like the bakery and the coffee shop, because you made drinks and you made pastries and you like saw that was useful, and then it went away. I didn't love working and like having to like get papers in and file them, and no one really cared about them anyway, but we needed them for HIPAA. So I wasn't not content there for sure. But I kind of like, you wake up, you go do stuff, you come back, and now you are definitely allowed to play a game or watch a show.
Okay.
If that's what you mean by content, I don't know. I don't know if you meant content or like fulfilled or like happy or like not upset.
Okay, thank you. How do you handle situations of conflict and confrontation?
So depends. If I'm not involved, I do it much better. if I'm not involved, I can kind of like be like, this is your side and this is my side or their side, and like this is where I see them interacting, and like this is how I see a win-win for both of you. Like so, I'm good at like both sides feeling like they're heard and like understood. If I'm involved, I'm much worse. I'm definitely more like, why does everyone hate me? So I definitely avoid at all, like ever being in a conflict, like being part of a conflict. I'm good if I'm outside the conflict, but
Okay.
I try at all costs to avoid making conflict.
Have people been able to sort of push you around because you avoid being in conflict?
It's hard to say that that you can push me around. You can definitely like move me around if like within like an acceptable amount. But if you try to push me too far, I might be pushed, and then I'll just like leave and not come back. So it's like, can you push me around to an extent, like, but only how much I allow. Like I definitely, I'm not like, whoa, I'll do whatever you want. I'm so happy to do whatever you want. I'm definitely like, yeah, I want to do what makes like you happy, but I'm logging what if it makes me unhappy, and I'm not gonna like last forever in a place that's consistently making me unhappy by pushing me places I don't want to be.
Makes sense. So you said that you're at your most close to being content when you're playing a video.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, it's back. Hi. Okay, so you said that you're at your most content when you're playing a video game. What is it about playing a video game that you most enjoy?
It's still a limited amount of content. Like it's only content if everything else is kind of dealt with. And I can only do it for so long before I'm like, I'm being like a waste of the human. But what I like about it is following the story. Something like I like that the game tells you what you're supposed to be doing, and like the effect that it has. So it's like I like the story, I like the fantasy, and I also like knowing what I'm doing and why it's good. Do we lose him again? Where's the FE? Nowhere. Down with FE. He doesn't feel FE, ignoring G. Does he? What does that mean? I definitely hate when people try to tell me how to feel. We were in this.
Sorry.
Can I answer this question?
Yeah, go on, answer the question.
So I was in this this coaching course this past week, and everyone would get together and they would be like, "Did everyone like that?" Like, and then you have to like raise your hands if you liked it. And I was like, I might have liked it, but I don't like that. Like, I have to say that I liked it. Like, even if I was like sort of like have mixed feelings about it, you have to be like, oh, I liked it. I'm having so much fun on this call. So I definitely hate FE. That's how I describe FE in my head, and I hate that.
How do you relate to belonging?
Belonging. Tell me more.
Yeah. Like, say there's do you like to sort of feel included and belong in a group of people? Or would you say
I would like to include and belong.
Yeah. Okay. Or would you say that you're more independently minded?
I would probably say in the scheme of people, I'm independently minded. Like, I want to belong, but I don't want to belong falsely. Like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I like that too. Now I belong. Now we all like the same thing. We're all happy. I want to like actually be myself and belong.
Okay. And I know you told me a bit more about video games. Was it right in saying that it was about the plot and the story? That's all where I got before it got cut off.
Oh, yeah, it's about the plot and the story. It's about, I mean, you have like interesting people doing interesting things. I also definitely like that like what you're supposed to be doing. You have like quests, you have side quests, you like have to explore this whole area. Like you have, like what you're doing and the reward that you get. So nothing's meaningless.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you. And you said earlier in the interview that if you don't know something, you can just go and find out what it is. How do you tend to find out things in the moment?
It depends on how. Is it objective or subjective? So like at work, if I need to find something out, I'm going to probably watch people first, and then I might ask. So I'm gonna want to explore. Well, because I've been working at coffee and bakery, so I had a really good baker boss. So like her, I'm gonna be like look to how she does things for the best way to do it, and I'm gonna like ask her if she has any tips. Otherwise, I'm gonna try to like once I have enough information, I'm gonna want to just kind of like do the thing and explore the best way to do it on my own. If I have, and then if you need to find information, it's hard because you have to know information to find the question to ask the more information. So I'm definitely like going to go online and figure out if somebody's had this problem at all. And if I want like a lot of information, I'm going to want to go to people who I trust have good information, and then I'm going to want hopefully they have like a course that's explaining what I need.
Okay, makes sense. Okay. I'd say so. This idea of becoming sort of like a coach and taking that up from your mother, is that something which you plan to stick to long term, or is it something?
I mean, if we can make it, if we can figure out how to make it sustainable, I mean, it's definitely hard for me to sell myself. But if like we have like contacts and like she has a lot of contacts in the like federal government, so if we can get long-term things going, that would be good. Then I can keep doing it because it's valuable, and I would like trust it as like a way to make money, and it's like enjoyable enough. I know what I don't like, and I know that if it's going well, I can keep doing it. So I could definitely keep it going.
Right. Okay. So sort of waiting and see, basically. And if he keeps on working, you'll keep it going. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, this is assuming that once we get it going and what we get going is enjoyable. I might like explore something else. Like if it turns out like what we end up doing is like annoying and feels like unvaluable, then I might like think about going back to school and like maybe going into counseling or something. I was listening to someone the people in that course were not so horrible, but in the course I was talking about last week, someone came on and they were a death doula, and I was like, that sounds like interesting. And then also, I think being a sex counselor could be really interesting. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot and sounds like a possibly interesting thing. So I'd go back to school for maybe something psychology related.
So that's it's certainly interesting having a sex counselor. But also, what about that would you enjoy doing?
What would I enjoy? I would enjoy like having clients who feel like unfulfilled in that area and helping them discover what's in the way and like having people be more enjoy their life more.
Okay. Why is enjoyment important to you?
Why is enjoyment? I don't know. Enjoyment's a big thing, a big topic, I guess. I mean more than just like enjoying what's going on. I mean, like, in my head, it's more like greater life unity. Like, it's kind of like being content, feeling like you have purpose, feeling like you're like growing, feeling like you're like all right, like feeling like you're like doing all right and you're good and like in life and like feeling fulfilled. It's like more than just like I enjoyed that piece of cake. If that makes sense.
I see. Okay. Thank you. And in what situations, well, I should say, do you find that related to people you don't know, what are the sorts of things which can happen which you don't like? Why don't you like, meeting people you don't know?
My sense of humor can be mean, and I don't like being misunderstood. I don't want people to think I'm mean or boring. I don't. It's mostly like how they're going to see me is why I avoid it more. It's either like that. It's either that group will be boring and I won't like them, or they won't like me. Like they won't want me to be me. So like they might. It's like it goes back to like the like am I a pushover? It's like I know if I go to that group, I'm going to have to edit myself very heavily to fit in, and I'm not interested in that.
Right. So being yourself and having those expectations. Okay. So what's the example of your sense of humor being mean to other people?
I only remember one. But I mean, it's definitely a constant thing. But a long time ago, somebody was like, "I'm gonna go to brunch and talk to all of the waiters, and we're gonna have a great time." And I was just like, it was just because he reacted. But this is really not that mean. But I was like, people who you pay are not your friends. You can't and he was just like, and it was just that was like when I was new to that job, and they were like, "Oh, wow, you actually say things," and but I don't know, but that really wasn't that mean. An example of being mean, I don't have a good memory for like things that happen. Like my friends will be like, "Then that happened, and that happened," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." But like actual like people just have like this like depth of like, and then I said this, and they said this, and then I said this, and I said that, and they said that. I'm like, not how I work. But example of being mean. I'm very mean to one of my best friends, Alex, and he'll be mean, and I'll be mean. So there's this quote from Rick and Morty where they erase their minds, and Summer gives them their minds back and puts them back in front of the TV, and they forgot that they ever left the TV, and then they wake up and they're like, "Oh, I missed interdimensional TV. Oh, Summer, oh, you dumb bitch. Yeah, Summer, you dumb bitch." And I said that to my friend on like a group chat, and my other friend was like, whoa, that escalated quickly, or like, wow, everyone's being so mean today. And I was like, we were quoting a show, first of all, like, you don't know what's going on, and we're fine. But so just like that, like, you mess something up, and you're like, you're an idiot. So that's another one that I remember, but again, it's not that mean.
Okay, thank you. And what is something which you haven't quite got for yourself, something which you want to grow in of yourself, but which you haven't got yet?
On and off, definitely. I feel like I've come a long ways in like structure of like doing things. I still want to like have a plan and do it regularly to get something, even if I don't like love it in the moment. So just like I want to like, I've wanted to write a book for a while. I've wanted to lose weight for a while, and I do that on and off. And I'll have like spurts of doing it, but I want to like figure out how to do something with such regularity that I like end up with something at the end of it.
Right. Okay. So it's that sort of, am I right in saying it's that sticking to things with some regularity is where you're having that trouble?
Natural deficiency?
Is that where you're having trouble? That sticking
Yeah.
to things where you have regularity? Okay. Because your interests are carrying to other areas. You get bored, you just want to move on.
Yeah, I wrote like a lot of a book one time, and then I was like, this is shit. And then I threw it out, and I never really got back, like I never really got back into the groove. Yeah, and so it's like I've done a lot of like a little bit, a lot of a lot. Like I like know a good amount of Japanese, I know a good amount of Farsi, but like not enough to like really make the jump to communicating that well. So it's just like I've done a bunch and jumped, but I've like never stuck with something long enough to be like, I'm fluent in this language. I've written a book. Whatever.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So who is your closest friend, and why are they your closest friend?
Okay. Okay, so I have Kelly, who's been my friend since high school, and she's my closest friend because we get each other the easiest.
Yeah.
But she lives in San Francisco, and we're both not people to like overly check up on people. So we've been doing a lot better because we know that we're in quarantine. So we'll just be like, let's meet with all of our friends on Google Hangouts and whatever. So she's probably my closest friend. Then Alex was my roommate for like 6 years, and he's from the same friend group. And so he's close because we've spent the most time with each other most recently. I had a best friend, Erica, and we're still pretty close, but I don't know, I'm just like, we're going different directions, and she in the end kind of makes me feel like I feel like a burden almost. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like we're trying too hard to like get along. Even though we like each other when we do, it's just like it's too hard to like make it work. And then I'd say last is Hadara. I met her the most recently, but I feel like we get along like close, like in a kind of like a Kelly way. Like we get along really well, and we just like really enjoy walking through the forest and talking. So I would say I'm pretty close with her too.
Okay.
But I only known her for like months.
Okay. Ryan, I think I've asked all the questions I need to ask. So this is a longer interview. And it's because there was difficulty finding very coherent patterns in what you were saying, which is okay. That's fine. That suggests things about the type. I should also say that what I didn't eventually found, which was very clear, was that lots of different interests, moving across one interest to the other, to the other, to the other, and the difficulty just finding those things which actually you can stick with for long enough.
Yes.
And being actually content in what you're actually working on and developing in. But there was this orientation.
Becomes boring.
Yeah, becomes boring, but you want more. You want more stuff, more things to look at. There is this a confidence in being able to find information, usually around finding people who you know who have information you can learn it and take it from. And although it also seems to me that in terms of the social side, you are reporting being able to get to know people well and need to get to know people well rather than just socializing with everyone. You want to maintain some of your independence and sense of self apart from what other people may expect or require you to do. And there isn't this desire just to belong for the sake of belonging. It's rather you want to meet people who you feel that sort of special bond with, who you can actually, form those relationships with in a very sort of informal, unstructured sort of way, where you can check in on them. Well, more they can check in on you as and when you're pursuing your interests. And sort of the main part is you being left to your own devices, being able to work on the things which interest you and grow and develop. And people are sort of serving in that, you pursuing your interests, that learning, that growing and developing, and then going after whichever direction you want to go in. It's not about maintaining, I got to check in on this person, that person, that person. You're more sort of free and unburdened in that approach. So almost a bit chaotic in that respect. And there seems to be a sort of erratic lack of structure or consistency in what exactly you're focusing on, what exactly is important. Rather, instead of just enjoying yourself, though, there is a sense of growth, a sense of purpose, instead of doing something which is helping someone in some way, helping yourself in some way. That seems to be coming out of it, which suggests to me to be more delta. But in terms of talking about things like enjoyment and talking things about sort of emotional expression, you show quite a lot of humor in our interaction. There is this sort of, I would say it's a deliberate charisma that seems to be coming across quite well. I would thought the extroverted ethics is still there, but you seem to be very much valuing sort of the one-to-one in getting to know people better, getting to know people well, and that's far more important to you than just having an impression on the whole group around you.
Yeah.
So introverted ethics being valued, not being put into a position of prime importance compared to your pursuit of your interests and that taking in of information to grow and develop. Introvert sensation being the weakest area, the area where sort of that being about sort of having that level of contentedness, having that idea of focusing really on that particular thing, which is you're working on through a bit of discipline, a bit of working it through, a bit of focusing in on that rather than let your interests carry you away from it. That seems to be a thing which you may need help in. But you do like having a more leisurely aspect of your life. You don't like things being too pressured, being too forceful. You don't like conflicts or confrontations. I don't get the impression it's entirely a vulnerable function, like completely blind. You're aware of it, where people are pushing on you and depriving you of your freedoms. But it seems to me to be something which you'd rather not have to deal with if you can. So that suggests to me it's more of a role function. So overall, I'd say that IEE makes the most sense. Also, we talked about introvert intuition. I asked you about what you're going to be doing in your long-term life. You could look ahead maybe 5 years. You weren't very comfortable going too far forward from that. And it seemed to me that, it's a question of, rather than this is my plan going forwards, it's like, let's take this thing with you, so your mum suggested, let's work with it, let's see if it's still working, but let's not make a long-term projection of where this is going to go. Now, that suggests to me that it wasn't necessarily a vulnerable function, but certainly not in a position that's being pushed, but reduced as much as possible, perhaps keeping open those possibilities instead. So either ignoring or vulnerable could have worked. I would have said more likely ignoring. People were suggesting another type of you, ESC, before. And I would say that for you to be ESC, you'd had to have an excess of energy, of being quite busy, being able to handle confrontations. There was no sign that extroverted sensation, that's all more impactful, more direct, more energetic, doing things side of you, was actually very strong. So I wouldn't say that ESC would make much sense. It would be their demonstrative function. They do it, but they wouldn't value it. And other people at some point would say, suggesting to be more like an EII, and this idea of actually the emphasis on growth and development, but also needing to get to know people really closely before mixing with everyone else. So in that respect, I thought that EII wasn't making much sense either, because of that, simply the breadth of interest, the difficulty sort of tying things down, the difficulty of actually checking up on people and really prioritizing those close relationships as of importance. So in that respect, I'd say that the types which are showing elements of both EII and ESE will be an IEE. And yes, that's what I'm seeing. I'm seeing the almost the seeming blind spot of introverted logic. I didn't really see that coming up much at all. I saw extroverted intuition. I saw extroverted logic. I saw introverted sensation being a sort of a struggle for you. And I saw extroverted sensation being something which you were having to handle, but you really did not want to handle. And you'd rather avoid it if you could. And so overall, I think IEE is making the most sense. Intuitive, ethical, energizer. Do you have any questions about that?
So that would be, I mean, that would be interesting for you because it'd be similar to the objective personality like type I was given, which was NEFI. So.
Okay. That would be, yeah, that would be the same. I mean, I've spoken to people who aren't the same, a lot of people who aren't the same. So yeah, that is a similarity there. But any questions I'd ask me just about the social knowledge typings, they aren't necessarily going to be the same.
Yeah, do you do the model 8 or whatever, the all the way down and what everything means?
Yeah.
I would go look into what that means for this type and figure it out. I did mention it, Joey. I just did. So I would go look into that and figure that out. I don't know what questions should I have.
That's fine. You can. There's no need to have any particular questions. But what I would say is, in terms of the model A going down, right? For IE, extrovert intuition would be the leading thing, the main focus. So increasing number of possibilities available to you. Go following your interests. Whatever takes your curiosity seems to be the thing which leads you along in your life and open up. And there seems to be a lack of discipline in restricting those interests. Whatever seems to be most interesting, you go and you follow along in that respect. Now, backing that up would be the introverted ethics about personal relationships, your personal attitudes towards people who you like, who you don't like. And there was I could see that there was certainly this positive and emotionality, but also this discernment in your communication as well. Like, how do you actually feel about this? How do you relate to this? And it can show up in your relationships with people. So it's not about relationships for the sake of just having close bonds of intimacy and working entirely on that, but rather through these personal relationships, you can increase your awareness of new possibilities, new insights, new perspectives, new things you could find out and learn about and go into more. So there is keeping that, but it's not the main pushing point. The extrovert intuition is the main pushing point. The next down would be the third, which function would be the role function. This is the thing which you'd rather not have to do, but society requires you to do it to some degree. And that's the forceful confrontational side. That's and in the way for IEs, it's more when you have to push people away, you have to push people away, but it's not nice to do. And for IEs, they much rather keep their possibilities open rather than confront and therefore shut things down because they decide that I'm not doing this. I'm pushing that thing where I'm asserting myself onto environment rather than letting it play out and see what happens, see what new things could develop. Introverted logic would be the vulnerable function. This is basically like a blind spot. So IEs are types which do not easily perceive the underlying structures of information. They don't pick out certain rules and what should work in theory. They're more about how is it actually working? How am I observing it to play out in real life? Taking in factual information is important for them. They're better at giving examples rather than general rules. And I'd ask an IE a question, they say, well, it depends on this, it depends on this, it depends on that, it depends on this. And so it's lots of examples rather than a general rule or structure. We don't like that. A good example is Steven Pinker, and he's a good example of an IE sort of intellectual figure, where his book is just examples, and it's not general rules which are drawn from it. So yes, and I can see that in general there's an erraticness in your interest. There wasn't any sort of underlying structure. Then we get to the other side of the weakness, which is more valued, introvert sensation. So introvert sensation is about immersing yourself in appreciation of the day-to-day. And we did see some of that, like in your meditation. You like the meditation where you're really getting awareness of your fingertips and getting that sort of sensory feedback. And there's something about just sort of being able to chill out and relate to the day-to-day in that way, which is something that you benefit from and you find rewarding. But there's also the struggle in terms of making that work for you. So the major disparities between lots of possibilities and really taking satisfaction in those few actualities. And that's the thing which you may need more help with. Meanwhile, extroverted logic, the sixth function, this is what we call the mobilizing function. It's a thing which you're working on for yourself and getting better in over time. That seems to me for you to be extroverted logic. Facts, factual information, how things can work, how things can be made to improve, what is more efficient or useful. You don't like sticking around having a conversation where there's no use for it. You want to find what is practical about this, what's useful about this. Is it wasting your time? Or is it actually a useful, something you could take from it which is useful to help with, to work in your life in some way? So I can see that plenty in what you were talking about. There was, and it's interesting that there's a certain cockiness of extroverted logic. It's what we call bold, but it's also quite actually weak. So people, IEs can often overestimate their ability to learn, to take in new information, to apply it in a factual way. But often they can be so inconsistent and erratic that often it can fall apart. So there is that difficulty there. It's sort of half right, but it's not the whole package of logic. So the extroverted logic appears stronger than it actually is at times. Meanwhile, the introverted ethics often appears a bit weaker than it actually is, because it's sort of more, it's more subtle. It's supporting rather than standing out on its own. But actually, how you feel about people seems to actually be quite strong. It's just you're not the main thing you're focusing on and pushing. Then we get towards the last parts, which are the ignoring function, first of all. That's the thing which is being pushed aside because of your leading function. That would be introverted intuition. So narrowing down possibilities, those things of greatest significance, of longest term, what will happen almost inevitably. And for IEs, they don't tend to like that. They like to have a sort of freedom and agency to grow in all sorts of directions and flourish as a human being. So they don't like that sort of stuff. They don't like being told how things will turn out. But they can also see where things are likely to go. They can see which possibilities seem to have a greater significance, have a smell of long-term potential to them, as well as what just is also interesting. So they're still showing up a little bit, but very much in a restricted way. And finally, extroverted ethics, that is the demonstrative function. There's the strongest part of you other than your extrovert intuition. So emotional expression, how to create an emotional effect in other people. IEs aren't interested in just creating mood and managing mood for other people, but they do have lots of emotional energy and they can be very likable to people. You tried to say that you had sort of mean humor. You couldn't give me examples where you actually had a sort of major social faux pas where suddenly people fell out with you. It seemed to me more that yes, you could actually be very likable, but when you meet people you don't know, they can place expectations on you which you don't want, and sort of force you to be someone other than who you are. So overall, I think that's why IE makes sense. What I said, does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it seems like everything that you're describing seems how it mostly plays out in my life.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. Has that inspired any more questions, or are you all right for the time being? You can always ask me questions later, like in chat.
Yeah, okay. It seems like I'll still go read whatever it says, but I guess it's just like, well, how do you use this knowledge for balancing your weak parts?
Right. So I'd say the main parts of this, working on learning new practical skills is important, but also learn to pay a bit more attention. It's hard for an IE to do this. Often what they need with suggestive functions to outsource it to someone else who can provide it for them. So building a close relationship with someone who is naturally introvert sensation oriented, who can actually help guide you through that appreciation of the day-to-day. That's the major thing. And then will support you and help you where you need it in extroverted logic. The thing about extroverted logic, you don't need someone else to do that all for you. You see yourself as someone who's taking on factual information and learning. You need a bit of a nudge, a bit of guidance here and there, but not too much. But gaining that appreciation for day-to-day and sort of just going with the flow and shutting all this mental stuff off every now and again, that's where you needed an introvert sensation to help you out with. Yeah, I think that's the main thing. Other parts like, well, knowing that extroverted ethics is a strength for you, that you could use that if necessary. You know, to if you need to say charm people, if you need to make people go wow, what you're telling them in terms of coaching, you could use that to your advantage. It may feel a bit dirty, but something you can do.
Okay.
Yeah. I think those are the main points. Are there any other areas of growth that you are interested in that you'd like to look at? That maybe
I'm definitely wanting to handle the ones in front of me before taking on any more.
So what was that?
I said I'm wanting to handle the ones that are in front of me before taking on any more.
Yes, exactly. And that could also be a social side as well, having someone around you who also wants to focus on this and to really develop mastery in it as a result. I think that could help you rather than being left to your own devices.
True.
Yeah. Other than that, I think there is some disagreement in the chat, which is cool. There's often disagreement. Let's see who are the ones who are disagreeing. I think is Carla disagreeing, or is let's see who else is disagreeing.
Call them out.
Yeah, it's cool. Nah, I don't have to call them out, but let's see. I saw someone saying disagree before, but where?
I know. I saw it too.
Oh well, doesn't matter. Oh, now people are saying that IE sounds right now that I've explained it. Okay, fine. That sounds good to me. Great. In which case, yeah, Ryan, thank you so much. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. And yeah, can I put your typing on the list, by the way, on the OP list?
Sure.
Great, I'll do that. Thank you. Take care now. Thank you everyone else for tuning in.
Bye.